sit behind you because she's just part of these meetings now.
Yeah, we have
and look menacing as she continues her little carving.
We have the 2 more meetings, and then we spring into action.
Yeah.
Well, we already did the one with Usha, right? And Sebastian.
Correct.
Yeah, some got a Sebastian.
Yeah, you guys are going to meet
lingering touching going on.
And Jimena is not going to be there because Jimena can't be there because she'll start shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So
we split the party for that, knowing that could be a problem.
I mean, Jenya has the most dealings with Mzabi, so he's already kind of, but he's not coming himself. It's an envoy, isn't it?
Well, the way that I remember setting it up was that we were supposed to meet at my shop.
Yeah.
So whoever's coming, and I'm not sure exactly if it was supposed to be him or not. I mean, look, I could probably look and see.
I mean, the DM is next to you.
Okay, well, do you remember?
He's over there, evilly stroking his mustache.
Okay, well, no, I know that part. Who was supposed to meet me, or do I not know that?
I don't think you specified.
Okay, well then whatever, I'll just be there.
You asked for a meeting, and I'm not sure you asked for necessarily for him in person.
Now I gotta look back and see why do I want to talk to him again? We're talking about okay, so we're gonna talk about the laundry thing and the public forum and what we plan to do there. And
you're about to fuck up an Inquisitor, so
we just want to make sure he's got our back or whatever.
I think you were trying to.
FYI, we gonna start shit.
Yeah, yeah. Which
also,
from your last talk,
if you see this person description of Jimena, don't be near that. Just
right. Don't.
If you see the fire, walk the other direction.
Do not approach.
Don't. Okay.
Disengage. Find shelter.
Yeah. We cannot guarantee your safety should you step within the vicinity of the fire.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. It will see you. It knows.
But yes.
Oh wait, have we helloed internet?
We're just recording, so
okay.
This will go up on YouTube when I upload it, so we have it for later.
Hello, internet.
Hello, internet.
That was really weird. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing.
Sneaky centaurs, bitches. Oh wait.
Internet weird since who knows when.
I did that wrong. Sneaky centaurs, bitches.
Cloppity 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 clop.
Yep.
Backstab.
So
he's seen some things.
Yeah, he's
I don't remember how things work. Oh, right. Okay.
Roll D10s. After that, I can help you.
Wow.
Something happens.
Something magical occurs. Like lots of 8s, apparently.
16. 10, 15. Jenya gets 4.
4?
Yeah.
That looks like 7 for me.
7?
Yep.
I'm not too concerned.
Kenya helps set up a perfect little outpost where you can peek from the back while Leandro is watching the road, and you see your staff along with 3 people. There's a lady and 2 gentlemen wearing fairly nondescript cloaks. The lady you don't really recognize. you see one of the gentlemen is like closer to the front, and he's clearly watching the front of the shop. Very tall, bronze-skinned, and has a clear, like a sword at his belt.
So
your staff is aiding the other gentleman, and you recognize the very prominent long dreads. Seems like that gentleman is trying a new cloak.
I don't know who the lady is.
The lady doesn't ring a bell, but she's clearly with them.
I can see them, right? Can I read them so I recognize who they are?
Oh, sure. Well, you don't even need to read the two dudes.
Yeah, that's
yep.
Killing you, right?
Yep. His quote unquote guard.
Yeah.
From last time, who seems to be filling.
Weird.
Yeah. It's he seems to be filling the same role in the sense that he's watching the front of the store, while Mazabi seems to be asking questions about a cloak that you had in your store that he's now trying on.
Alrighty.
And he's sort of looking at himself in the mirror as your staff is talking to him.
Okay. I mean, I assume I have keys to the mirror, so I just open it.
You actually startle most of everybody as you come through the back door. You see the lady almost like she doesn't quite fall like closer to a crouch, but you see the movement, you see the intent.
Zhenya mirrors it, leaning down to her boot.
And there's recognition from the taller gentleman in the back. Doesn't unfold his arms, but when he sees Zhenya, you get like a short nod in your direction. And Mazabi takes just a moment longer to sort of turn around and just indicates to the lady that it's fine. It's like, well, I apologize. While I was here, I thought I might as well sample the goods. I hope you'll forgive me.
I certainly can't have an issue with that. After all, this is a shop. But I tell my people we have a consultation. And also, I don't know. Just like I just tell them, just be discreet.
You just get a nod. Your ladies are already. One of them has grabbed the cloak from Mazabi, and he hands her a pouch of something, which she carries with the cloak up to the front of the shop. And your shop manager basically just bows and almost floats backwards out of the room. He basically just glides right out of there, and the door is closed behind him.
I picture a scene from The Nun.
Yeah.
What?
That's he got the right picture. He basically just bows, and you barely see his leg moves. He just, he's pulling out a frame. But yeah, the door is locked. And you see your husband walks from the street, still watching outside, closes the door behind him. So you're basically in the back room of your shop. There's a desk there that seems to have been cleared of fabric with a few chairs. There's still For the number of people you have, not all of the chairs match. But
Oh, this is
will
definitely
be.
not usually a meeting place. Please make yourself as comfortable as you can. I am sorry this is not the ideal place to have a conversation, but necessity. I introduce my husband.
Leandro bows and utters a Vaticine greeting in Vodace, which Mazabi returns also in Vodace. He sort of signals to the lady. She sort of looks at Mazabi, and then he gives her a reassuring nod, and she pulls a chair and sits a little bit more at ease.
Can I read her now that I'm here?
Elohim doesn't move. You just yeah. He relaxes his shoulders slightly. That's comfort mode.
Love it.
All right, you want to read this, lady?
Yep, I sure do.
All right. Her virtue is reunion, exemplary.
Okay.
Her hubris is the prophet, overzealous.
Okay. That actually makes some sense.
Zabi grabs one of the mismatched chairs and sort of sits in it, like just crossing his legs and leaning back, getting comfortable.
I guess the first thing I'm going to say is, once people are more or less settled down, is, well, I have returned only very recently. I'm curious to hear from your perspective the goings on in San Felipe since I have been away.
Well, just a few days and things have grown rather tense. The announcement of a new guard captain, I think, has done a lot of good for the city, but has been met with a lot of frustrations in back rooms and away from prying eyes. Captain Voritelli is impatient to get what's his, or what he feels is his. This has severely impacted his chances of getting to that point.
I'm certain. Taz, what do you know of this public forum that Juarez is planning?
It comes from pressure from Cardinal Verdugo to wrestle back some of the power away from the captain of the guard. Governor Perez is rapidly losing favor with the church and the crown. Of course, it is no surprise that it comes at the time where Governor Perez is starting to make decisions of his own, rather than being a puppet figure for the Cardinal himself. Don't believe the hype. They will tell you that he works for good King Sandoval. He does not. Unfortunately, the Cardinal speaks for the king these days.
Yes. Well, where do you see yourself in relation to Juarez? I will say before you go on that there are designs of those of us who are opposed to him, but I would like you to know, how involved would you be?
He sort of arches an eyebrow and gets a read of the room, sort of looks around a bit. Leandro, by the way, is constantly looking out the back window. And then he says, well, I think my stance from our last conversation still holds. I do believe you will never get rid of the Inquisition in this city.
Yes.
Not as long as the Cardinal has the influence he does, and not as long as it is a good part of Castile. Even when it isn't, the people here are devout, so some inquisitional presence is rather unavoidable. That said, you know what I feel about what this organization has become. I do feel there is one Inquisitor too many in San Felipe.
How do you feel? Do you feel confident in your ability to continue as the sole Inquisitor in this city without drawing too much undue attention from said Cardinal? I don't believe that what we do here will be the end of things, but
Well,
we cannot have them just send another. We are intending to discredit Juarez, and I believe that those steps have been bearing fruit, but
I am a man of the cloth, not a spy. That said, the game I am currently playing has forced me to surround myself with people who know how to make this happen, shall we say.
all right. Well, like I am not intending for you to be a spy. It is not my um
Intention.
it's not my right to tell you such things. Only that as long as we can work together and not stand in each other's way, I believe that we can make you privy to some of the plans we have and therefore put you in a position to take on what is left behind when Juarez is dealt with.
And I believe I can help release some of the grip that has been placed around San Felipe's throat. At
Yes.
least for the time being.
So now I'm gonna have to think
If you are suggesting what I think you are suggesting, your best bet is to hit Juarez and hit him hard with everything you have. If the stain of disgrace clings to him, I will absolutely swoop in and fill in the void. Plus, if he goes out with such a splash, this will open the perfect opportunity for me to launch a inquiry here in San Felipe to understand just how deeply our good friend Juarez had fallen. The Cardinal may be dissatisfied at that, but even he will not be able to dissuade the other Cardinals of the good that would come from investigating this matter thoroughly.
All right. Out of character, I have to remember now. What were we gonna do at the forum? Are we taking him there? Was that what we were gonna do? Because I don't remember.
We had a smear campaign going.
Yeah, I remember that much.
We were going to unveil the captain of the guard as having returned and publicly show the evidence of Cardinal Juarez's transgressions.
Okay, so I spend maybe like because I'm not going to go through all of the exposition of like the last few games we played, but
Sure.
more or less, I talk about Landavie and also my husband, who was also caught up in the whole thing. But basically, the kind of atrocities we saw at Isla de San Jose, which we now call it, and as well as the ship in which we um, rescued my husband, and the association with kind of like what is side of or his faction, I guess, and that we and I can basically conclude with, well, we intend at this forum to reveal Landerville as still alive, as well as um, the trials and travails he went through at during his incarceration.
That is weighty.
Yes.
Public opinion will not be easily swayed, but Landreville is a well-known and liked figure in this city. His appearance corroborating your story will give it a lot of weight. More than anything, I think the return of a supposedly lost hero will likely sway the population in your favor.
That is the hope.
It would also get the church very upset with you. So
I don't mind that.
there's
Smile.
like a very hearty laugh that comes from Mazapi. He says that does not surprise me.
It is not my church. I do not care if it is mad at me.
That is fair. I have deep belief in the Vatican faith.
Well, my understanding has been all this time that you are a devout of the faith, but not necessarily of the institution, as we might call it.
I am still a man of the cloth, one way or the other. Although I do believe some of us have strayed,
Mm.
and some of our past mistakes must now be corrected.
Well, I do know for a fact that some of my allies would probably feel differently, but I don't want a radical change. Change should come gradually for it to last. There are many things that I wish I could change and would love to act with haste on, but what I want is a foundation that will last the test of time and various, because we will have pushback somehow, I am sure. That said, um, what sort of what sort of retaliation do you think would occur if we made this move? Are you suggesting that as soon as we do this, that we immediately attack?
Let them make the first move. That would be my suggestion.
All right.
Let them paint themselves in a corner. The people of Saint Felipe are deeply devout, good Vaticanes. They support the church, and they support the Cardinal because they are not aware of how much that man has weighing on his conscience.
My understanding of this, I am not so much of a fool that I don't realize that for us to truly see an end to this, we may have to go all the way up. Um, so I suspect that that will have to be part of it. That said, I you may not realize this, but I am also devout in my own way.
That warms my heart, believe it or not. The thing that the Cardinal does not realize, because he has not been in these parts for too long, he stays in San Cristobal these days, is that he may make a mistake in potentially rising against Usha Seraphine, which is what I think he will do.
Yes.
The people down here are devout, but I think he underestimates just how devoutly dedicated they are to their Grande and what she represents for this whole region.
Well, I don't know for sure because I do not know the Cardinal, but I believe that people who join the faith as priests and cardinals and such, they believe, and they probably believe they are doing something good, but given time and circumstance, you can lose your way.
If you are to ever meet the Cardinal, you will find him a pleasant man. You will struggle to reconcile what you are seeing with the image of the brutal, bloodthirsty leader of the Inquisition people whisper about behind closed doors.
Oh, I'm sure he must have quite some aid in maintaining such a reputation despite everything. It usually is the case.
It is mostly leaving the dirty business to others. But make no mistake, the Cardinal does not maintain a facade. And this is what should scare you more than anything else. He is no villain in his mind.
Yes, this is what I was suggesting, that he believes he is acting on the side of right according to his beliefs. And the difficulty is when you start to take greater and more drastic and extreme measures to continue to support and um, maintain these things, the good that you believe that you are doing, and therefore you can think yourself into a situation where you are justifying atrocities because you believe that it is for good. That is the kind of person I believe he is. Therefore, a dangerous adversary for sure.
When I returned from the Crescent Empire, I came across a site in the Commonwealth, non-Vatican, in a mass grave. The work of one of the Inquisition's death squads in this area. The topic came up at some point when one of the junior members of the Inquisition brought it up to the Cardinal, but he never flinched. In fact, there was joy in his eyes at the idea of how many he had saved. The pain had saved their souls. He truly believes he is saving them from Legion.
It is quite terrifying and does make it I can understand why people would lose faith should they come across this.
His agents are many, which is why I must play my cards very carefully. Make
Of
no
course.
mistake, if I was to announce reform tomorrow morning, I would give about 3 days before you find my body somewhere black bagged, beaten.
My understanding is that it would be best for us to keep you here safe as long as possible as it takes to truly make a difference. But I personally would not expect you to make huge sweeping reforms.
Well, make no mistake, this partnership is not only out of the goodness of my heart. I believe that what you are trying to do here will force some change in the grand scheme of things.
That is the hope.
If you can turn the tide here in San Felipe, you will show to all those who are huddled and afraid of the eyes and ears of the church that it is possible to stand up to them.
So I suppose I should ask, what would you have your official response be to the plans we have? I believe it may become more and more unsafe for us to appear to be directly in league.
I will tell you what will happen when you deliver those news. Myself and my office will be properly shocked at the accusations leveraged against my esteemed colleague, but also as a conscientious member of the church and Inquisitor myself, I will take it upon my person to launch an official investigation into these matters.
All right. Then I suppose we can continue to interact in the auspices of you continuing said investigation, as well as to buy high quality clothing.
I admit that is a earthly pleasure I have not quite figured out how to let go of yet.
Far be it from me to be the source of temptation. Hmm. Not sure how I feel about that. But
Temptation exists all around us, sister. Denying it completely only means you are more susceptible to it.
that is certainly true. Well, I would like to let you know that my husband Leandro is going to be increasingly taking on duties here at the shop. After all, it was his original um, career path. After all,
He sort of steps up from the chair he was seated in and extends a hand to your husband and says, "Well, then, I believe to a fruitful and successful business partnership,
yes.
or should I rather say sponsorship. The church is not known to enter business ventures."
But I do think that as much as possible, we should continue to. We should act with proxies. If we meet in person, it will be for large moves, as such as this one.
Absolutely. I will assign someone to be our official liaison to your shop. I will work the details out with Mr. Leandro here.
Good.
It will be very easy for me to find you.
That I am aware of and curious about in equal measures. Don't let the appearance fool you. It also makes Elohim quite on edge. You hear a grunt from the back of the room.
Well, he wouldn't be a good bodyguard if he was not.
He is one of the finest I have seen.
I do have one last thing. Technically, my companions and I will not have officially arrived until tomorrow.
I understand.
We shall have you exit through the front door with your purchases. And
technically, I have had my meal and have went to read scriptures and are probably already in bed by now. Like the good, devout man I am. And he sort of joins both hands and bows.
Yes. Well, then I will see you off from here.
Please do not trouble yourself. In fact, we're closer to this entrance. If you don't mind, I will secure my purchase and we can be on our way.
Of course.
As he says that, the lady is already up on her feet and has walked up front, then walks back with a bundle. You get nods from everybody, and Mazabi bows and says, "Prophets be with you in your important mission tomorrow. We will be watching."
Thank you. And the same for you, Inquisitor.
Well, we will need all the help we can get, yes?
Indeed.
And he sort of pulls the hood of his old cloak up, and they walk off into the back alley, closing the door behind them.
All right. Did we say what we were going to do after? Like, are we just meeting up at the house?
No, I think we're still bunking down at the dock because we're not officially here.
Oh, yeah. Why do I keep doing this? You said this like twice. I don't know.
Because the last time we played was like over a month ago.
Well, my brain is like a sieve today. So yeah, I go and I tell my people to finish their cleanup, and I wait maybe I don't know, 15-20 minutes before I leave with Leandro and head back to the ship.
Perfect. You get the, "Is this man really an Inquisitor?" from Leandro.
I say yes.
Jean had quite a few dealings with him. Is like, yes, but he is a good man, which is different.
He turns the chair backwards before he sits down on it, so that you know that you're rapping now and you're on the same level.
Does he also swing his leg over the back of the chair?
Right, like
Right.
a youth pastor.
Yeah, it goes like straight up.
Wow, that's quite a sight.
Yeah, Leandro says, I had heard by reputation about the Dark Inquisitor. Not like what I would have pictured him.
How do you mean?
Well, not in a bad way. I just mean he has an unfortunate reputation, I'm afraid to say, in some circles.
In production?
Well, yes, it made some powerful enemies.
Well, San Felipe does end up taking in all sorts of misfits one way or another.
Well, that
Ourselves included.
would explain it. according to rumor, he had fallen from grace, then took on a sacred mission from the Cardinal himself, and is now back in his very good grace after demonstrating how loyal he was. So,
Well, I did take a chance when I met him first. He knows what I am. It was how I got my foot in the door, so to speak.
are you sure that is safe?
I have dealt with him before. I trust that this is safe.
Yes.
Also, I would not let Marilena walk into something I did not know we could walk out of.
If I have offended, I apologize.
Oh,
I
no,
do not
no.
wish to put your judgment in question. I'm simply
Everyone judgment in question. It's okay.
he sort of cuts himself short.
But yeah, I say, it was a calculated risk, because he is also in a precarious position. I had to show that I was willing to put an equal weight of risk on the table. That was what I did, and it turned out as I had hoped it would. Therefore, I believe that this will work out as well, as long as we can manage to defeat our enemies.
Well, I plan to assist with that in any way I can.
Well, it would also.
Hi.
It would also help me for you to take care of yourself some. You have been through a lot.
Please do not worry yourself. I am fine. And he looks ahead. He's clearly not fine. But, you know.
You would think you would know by now that you can't hide these things from me.
He sort of sighs a bit, but says nothing, and says, we should not stay out here. We should head back.
Okay, we walk back.
Jimena, the evening at the restaurant extends. Rodrigo is drunk as a skunk.
Crazy.
I love the idea of Rodrigo being some sort of drawn as a little skunk.
Yeah.
He's Rodrigo.
Chibi skunk.
He's just like at that moment where like he's standing at the precipice, like he's right about to get real sloppy. Fortunately, his cousin is there and apparently can hold her alcohol better. So you're there to sort of elbow him a couple times because like
don't hold his beer because
after a while
point where I'm giving him water but telling him it's alcohol.
Just like water it down a lot.
Yep.
Like it doesn't taste like anything. Like I know it's really high proof. That's why it's super
right.
smooth.
You just drank a lot, so you don't feel it anymore.
You never start with it.
But yeah, like there's a couple times where like he there's some of the ladies that are part of the Liberation Movement's crew. Clearly, like they're coming in to discuss stuff, and some of them sit and start to chat with you all, and some of them sit with Evine, who also has been drinking at least as much as Rodrigo and is still
perfectly pure,
perfectly fine. But yeah, like a couple of times, like some of the ladies come over and you have to elbow him because like he's almost at the like, hey, do you want to see a trick? And you're like, don't take your flame out, dude. Nobody wants to.
Not here.
Yeah.
Put your whip away.
Don't pull it out. Just
don't whip it out. Okay.
Yep.
Not unless they expressly ask to see it.
No unsolicited fireballs.
Yep, that's right.
You need consent first.
Yep.
We know you think it's really cool and that everyone should see it. But wait.
Like, read the room, not the right place.
Yep.
Also, don't make me look bad in front of this fucker.
He's
Right?
clearly
Cursing me.
he's clearly having the time of his life.
Across the face.
Oh, he needs some of that life.
Yeah, it is the best, and everybody is just so tickled with him. Even get like from Sebastian before he has to go away. He's like, your cousin's a good kid. I'm like, I like him. But yeah, after a while, the night is stretching, and Rodrigo is not getting in any better state. So it is now time to take this show on the road. Rodrigo looks like he steps up from his chair after a while, and he hasn't stood in a while. So he stands up, and the gate is just a little too wide. It feels like his legs are made of spaghetti when you look at him, but hey, he's trained themselves, and he's like, you lead the way, cousin. I am ready to go home. And then he grabs a hat that's not his and puts it on his head.
Nice.
Jimena's like, okay, give me this. The hat off his head.
And he clearly did not come in with a hat, but he spends like 30 seconds because like, oh yeah, you're right, this is not my hat. And then he looks around, he's like, where did I leave my hat?
I think you left it back at the ship. So let's go get your hat, Rodrigo.
Yes.
Oh boy.
My hat with the plume. You've not seen such a hat, but hey.
No, but
that.
Like, yes, I know exactly where you left it. So let's go get it. It's back at the ship. Say?
Yes. And he sort of stands and he's sort of swaying like there's suddenly a breeze, right? Like, and it's sort of whipping him around a bit. And he looks at Evie and he's like, he sort of leans over, like you're worried that he's gonna lean a little bit too far and just completely tip. And he just whispers in your ear, he's like, I think Evine is drunk.
Oh.
Wait, does he even see Evine? Or is he
Like puts her arm around his shoulder and like gives him like a shoulder tap and it's like, Jess, we are all very, very drunk. We need to go back to the ship. That's where your hat is. So let's go. Eh?
Evine, come on. We're gonna go and continue to party with my hat.
Ooh, that sounds very tempting.
You get a
Don't
finger
worry.
gun.
Oh
I'll
no!
be there. You might not see me. But I'll be there.
I better see you. You get a finger gun, and like the tip of the finger glows for a second, which makes you like just a touch like a
Man, don't drink in pyro.
Put those away.
And then he's like, all right, we are going, and he sort of sways more than he pivots with Jimena's support.
It's called a drift. It's fine.
Like Shaggy sleepwalking.
San Felipe Drift. Nice.
You sort of have to corral him as you're exiting because like he talks about how he has to go say thank you to the old guy in the corner at the bar because he's such a good dude, and you're like, all right, just we can't leave for 45 minutes. Like, it's just
Well, that's a normal European goodbye.
yeah.
I've been with that drunk girl before. No, this way.
Yep.
Come on. Let's get back to the car.
So it takes you a little bit to navigate the streets with him because he actually sees a couple taverns on the way and he's like, maybe we should stop here. right? He's not quite done. He hasn't fully gotten it out of his system. But after a while, you manage to get him fairly quiet and on your way towards the your hideout. And at some point during the trip, you're not sure if it's because he's finally reached that stage of being drunk, but he becomes like really sullen for a while, like just somber. Like he looks like there's like a shadow over his features, and he's like, I'm glad you found me when you did. I'm glad I'm out here with you.
Yeah. Jimena kind of once again like patting him, being like, I'm glad I found you too. Like, Jace.
I don't think I would have held on that much longer. And he starts to get like you start to get the tremors like in his voice.
Man.
And he's like,
that is some hot mess going on there.
I was in captivity for a long time, cousin. They made me do things that I would rather. And he stops. He's like, but now it's done, and we're gonna get to get back at the Inquisition for what they did. And he start naming names from your family members.
Jesus.
Wow. Someone needs to go to bed.
Right.
Yeah. Jimena is trying really hard to like just keep it together and get him back to the ship. But part of her hubris is that when shit gets brought up, she can't really not do anything about it. So she's starting to kind of like, she's focusing. She's trying to focus real hard on just getting him back to the ship. But like every time he says like another family member's name, like any lanterns or like torches that are anywhere in her vicinity of like where she's walking start just like pulsing.
Oof.
And like flaring. And she's like, Rodrigo, I don't think that right now is the time to be talking about this. You're clearly drunk. And I know you're feeling feelings. But for both of us, I need you to be quiet. Place.
You get a sniffle as a response, and then his voice cracks and he's like, "You're right."
Oh man.
You're right. It's inappropriate, and I am not doing right by you, cousin. And he sort of leans back like a little too far. Like you have to sort of reel him back with your arm, but he sort of stands a little bit more straight, and he's like, You're right. We don't need to dredge this up. You're right. I can tell you bad jokes instead if that helps." And
It doesn't. I just need you. Let's just get home. Let's just get back. How about that?
I think talking is making me nauseous. I'm just gonna be quiet.
And then immediately, like a minute later, he starts talking again. So
no,
he forgot.
He mostly sticks to it. Like you get like some moaning noises from him, like periodically.
Oh,
and you're not quite sure whether you're gonna have to pause for him to yak. But
I know. I'm like, is he hurling somewhere between now and?
But no, it seems like almost like a matter of pride at this point. He's just keeping his shit together. He's holding it in.
I put all this booze in my body. I'm gonna keep it.
That's right.
Time now.
Right. Dad used to tell me you just keep it in, right? So now he's just now he's channeling this. Like you see his fist like uselessly sort of balled at his side as if it's helping somehow, but hey.
As soon as they get back to the ship, she sort of walks him over to the side and then just like kind of slaps him on the back and is like, okay, I won't look.
Blah. You get a nod. He doesn't respond. He sort of looks at you and does the he doesn't look good. He's white as a sheet. And then you get from the other side I won't look either. And you see Ernesto turn and walk
Always Ernesto.
the other way. You see him actually, out of consideration, put out the cigarillo. So the smell doesn't get to him, but it doesn't take long. After you walk away, like you hear a couple coughs and it is gone. Rodrigo is heaving over the side of the boat. Yeah, by that time, I think all of you would have been here, since you didn't stay in.
I was like, we didn't party, so
No, you didn't
Yeah,
party.
this was the opposite of a party.
Yeah.
Basically.
They're the last ones to arrive. No sign of Evine, but what else is new?
I think Xenia treats Evine like the Domovoy. Like she just leaves like little plates of cream or like bread out places, and if she goes back and finds the plate empty, she's like, "Yes, Evine has been fed."
Yeah.
Nice.
You leave little shots around.
Small-
Right? They get drunk in the morning. You're like, oh, Evine came by. Well, yeah, so all of you are here at this point. I don't know who's still up by the time.
I am an early sleeper, so I probably am not.
Yeah. Yeah, Jimena and Rodrigo, who look like they have had quite a night. Rodrigo is the case of the noodle legs by the time you get to the ship.
Oh. Just mop him up.
Yeah, he's very polite though. Like he's almost a couple times you worry that he's gonna plummet overboard because he makes it a point of like lifting himself up so that he doesn't
Slash the ship. Aww.
get shit on the ship, right? But
Aww.
yeah. After a while, he just like sort of sits down by one coil of rope.
Come back and get him
He
some
looks
water.
like this is the most comfortable spot ever. Like his head is leaning back like that, and he's just like conked out. He's gone.
Jimena goes over and like takes his cloak and like puts it over him. It's like another, like a chunk of like either like another coil of rope or like another chunk, like a chunk of hay, like behind his head. Like, that's not too comfortable, cousin.
Yeah, he's
Your neck.
it's lights out. Like when you go to put his head in, like all you hear is a. Like,
Takes his boots off so no one draws a dick on his face while he's sleeping.
Yep. Smart.
Man, you knew where I was headed.
Nice.
Retold puts his stylus away somewhere in the distance. He's like,
Jenny goes to find Veronica to see what she's been up to.
she basically says, like, mostly just taking some notes about tomorrow. Retold has been busy, and then I've been brushing up on training because, and she takes like a breath. He's like, your husband to be is telling us that we are about to enter a very serious situation, and that my skills should be at their peak.
Oh, he's right.
Well, yes.
We are finally publicly going to piss off most of the people we've been pissing off.
She looks like she's about to like sort of rail off, but she stops, and he's like, I know, and I know what I signed up for. So as much as it might look like I complain about this, I would not have it any other way.
No.
This is the kind of life I want to lead.
Zhenya kind of takes her by the shoulders. Veronica is just like a little bit taller than Zhenya.
Yep.
She kind of puts her hands on her shoulders and says, I'm glad that you feel that way, but still deep down in my heart, I wish you had not made this decision. You see what it does, and I've been doing this for a very long time. And while I have been blessed, not everyone has. And you're definitely going to make me worry where you are.
Well, so do you. It's not like I don't get worried when you're out soldiering. But hey...
Matushka will not take me anywhere. Matushka will have his head for it.
But you've met such good people.
And I have.
And then you cut yourself a husband.
Yeah.
Very, very sensual man.
I don't think I cut him. Well, maybe I did take him out of the prison. That is another story entirely.
Plucked him out of the snare.
That's besides the point.
Right? It's like, where did you need your husband to be? Well...
Yeah, don't change the subject.
He was in jail at the time.
Nice.
Met a man, he gets out in 20 to 50.
I would have rathered never have losing you.
No.
But I do see that maybe these chains of events have led me to things that I never would have seen. And I'm not saying I'm glad you were taken, because I will find that demon and tear him to shreds.
Oh,
and
I know.
for dinner.
Well, think about this. You've been thinking of me for so long now. You've worried about me. Even when we were younger, you were always there for me. I want to be able to look out for myself so that you don't have to live just for me anymore.
I know. And you have
And
done
I'm
well.
sure my brother-in-law to be would appreciate that.
He loves you.
Oh, that's not the problem.
I don't understand what the problem is. You'll be with us. It has already been said.
Well, what happens when I get married? What if what if like one of these like handsome soldiers falls into my lap?
Well, that'll be great. He'll come too.
All four of us?
Kasha says that the house had 5 people, so we are 4. That works. I may not know how to read, but I know my numbers. Very well, Vanushka.
Well, no, that sounds fine if you're both okay with it. But Still, I want to be able to defend myself.
Yes.
I want to have to depend on you all the time. I want to fight with you.
And you will. I am trying.
Ricardo's a good teacher. So's Rethel. The stuff he told me really helps.
There is a huge
The vein.
Rethel shivers somewhere. He's like, "Ooh, this weird. I don't. Ooh."
Ooh, an ill omen somehow.
Right?
He clutches his coin purse reflexively.
Right?
Oh, the security purse.
Yep.
Rethel is a very good man, and I am proud to call him my family. But there are some lessons
Oh dear.
I wish he had not attempted to teach you.
Which ones?
You know Matushka's teachings. We need to live. What is the word I'm looking for? We need to live modesty, live by the truth. Stern face.
Yeah.
We need to live with kindness and forgiveness. 3 of those things Rethel does not necessarily believe in. Deep frown.
Rethel feels affronted somewhere, and he doesn't know why. Hey, hold on. We're gonna.
Hey.
It's like somebody's sick in the house or not feeling good in the house, so cats just gravitate.
Recording back on. So
Yeah.
I can cut these together. It'll be good.
Cool.
Yeah, Veronica sort of pauses at that, and she sort of looks out like towards the ocean and says, well, there's a lot of teachers here. I just think I feel like I've been off for so long. I just want to learn as much as I can now. And don't worry, I'll make my own path. I won't forget.
Good. Brings her in for a big hug.
No.
You get a big hug back.
And then quietly, Venushka, if I am smothering you, you need to tell me. I don't always know my strength.
It's fine. You're good. You used to pull harder.
She actually meant this in a if I'm parenting too hard, yes.
No. But after the fake strained voice, she says, "No, we're family. I get it. You're worried. And know that even if there's things we disagree on, your concern and your opinion are always welcome."
Bumps their foreheads and pushes her off. Go. Finish what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. And she walks away, makes a beeline to avoid the sleeping Rodrigo, and then stops for a second, pulls something out of her pack, and just like lays it next to him. Seems to be a bottle of something. And then
Good
just
girl.
like fucks off.
Compare the dog over there.
Yeah. Anything else anybody wants to do tonight before the big day happens? D-Day tomorrow.
No, it just keeps whittling happening.
I have a note here that reminds me to suggest that if the lieutenant and the good governor are not making the announcements themselves, that perhaps Jimena and Marielena, as well as devout Vadicines, should assist in the presenting of the evidence, because it probably wouldn't do to have filthy heathens like me and Zhenya and Evine casting aspersions on a man of the cloth.
I'm not sure how well it would be perceived for Marilena to do it, because
we're
a great witch and a fire sorceress. Neither of us are looked on well.
You don't carry a physical stigma. She's a woman from Vodace.
But we're not in Vodace.
Yeah, the stigmatism of being a woman is in the filthy Vodace lands, which So I think I thought about that.
I mean, they do have a Fate Witch helping them, though, so she knows exactly what I am.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's going to make a difference or not.
Yeah.
Well, I dare to start some shit on us in the middle of that, because I'll just be like, nah, I brushed that shit off.
Yeah. That's right.
Shake it off.
It's like my shirt was already off, and I took it off again for some reason. Somehow.
Wow.
I managed to take off a second shirt while I was already shirtless.
Does shirt ripping animation happen a second time on him?
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Oh, okay, all right.
Well, every time I do this, it just does. I don't know.
You see two shirts on the ground. It's like, what?
I just point. Los. And then, yeah, it's.
Yeah, that's right. You get to do the techno Viking point.
That's right.
Like, it kind of looks like you're sticking something up someone's nose.
And the silent, like, bottle me when that bottle of water gets thrust at him.
Yes. Be using that again soon. I remembered that meme and I was like, ooh.
So good. So good. That man leads the charge. All right. Well, morning comes. People wake up. The makeshift little military camp inhabited by Zhenya, Ricardo, Veronica stirs. Yep.
Are we going to like putt over to La Belle and Blanche to come off of there officially? Or are we just going to say, fuck it, we've been in town this whole time, haha, and then...
I don't remember if we plotted...
I don't think we had
this.
I think that's fine, though.
Yeah, regardless of where you came by.
You mean just we were here all along, so it can be, like, kind of blurred a little bit? So if people find out later we were around the day before, it wouldn't... They just happened to be there.
As far as you know, there were no evidence of you being in town for these past few days, so...
The public forum is at noon?
Yep.
So I'm out at the northern eastern gate at the break of dawn to start working with crows and such, and a couple Jose's to greet the new arrivals, because I'm sure a few rode ahead maybe to start with the process.
Yeah, you get like one of the messengers basically like flashing you the pin as you head out there, and you get just full embrace as if you're a military brother. You're not exactly sure you've seen this particular scout before. It doesn't seem to matter. Little mousy man, he pulls the hood from his cloak, and he's clearly middle-aged, although like from his voice, like you could be like, is he like 16 or like, and he says, I would try to describe what the atmosphere has been in the camp. You would have had to be there. Many are marching as we speak.
Good. We can use that.
Many have also stayed behind to help
Right.
the eldest and the folks who will have more trouble getting into town. It will be a process, but you will be pleased to know that General Carduzo himself is now in town,
Well, yes.
as well as Lieutenant Colonel Reinhardt is with him as always. She is firing on all cylinders.
Superb. We have quite the show planned for those who are able to see it, and now that we have a foothold, so to speak, I'm sure having the rest along will be no problem.
Well, as far as we're concerned, whatever hardships come ahead, we are with you, and we are more than willing to tackle them. There's some among us who haven't been in town in years at this point. So the sight of San Felipe or any other city will be just a welcome boon.
You all know as well as I, only if the town does not want you will you be turned away.
Well, the crows have been fighting for some time now. If the city does want us, then we will defend it to the last. After a little bit, like, you see a few more of the crows sort of coming in, like, discussing. Apparently, the general covertly made his way into town under an assumed identity the night before, just riding in a small detachment as an emergency. Rumor has it among those crows who are there that he actually spent the night at Usha Seraphine's man's, and that they've been sheltered by the liberation movement. So, according to a very excited younger soldier, they are planning to support and corroborate your whatever action you take at Usha Seraphine's command. They will step in just to heap even more onto the Inquisitor's rap sheet. So,
as per the agreement, you are at the service of the city. So, wherever that flies, it'll be good. Excellent.
Oh yeah, that kid, probably a junior member, but that kid is like the most excited by this whole thing. The older dude like looks relieved, but that kid is like, this is gonna be awesome.
Wow.
This is gonna be the best.
Oh yeah, we need to get him on a ship. We need to temper that just a little bit.
Right.
Yep.
By the way, was there some time in the morning that we actually, or earlier in the morning, that we could have, because I would have had Marilena say some of the things that occurred the night before.
Oh sure, you can assume
She is an early riser, so she could have caught Russell before.
You can assume that before
Sure.
you start to go about your way, you had a chance to powwow and venture any information you've gathered.
Okay, cool. I mean, the main thing is that Misabi's suggestion that we reveal the information we're going to reveal, but let Juarez's camp respond to it and just react to the reaction.
Perfect. Yeah, so it looks like you have all of your ducks in a row.
I mean, I assume Landrevier knows what he's going to say already, right? I mean,
All of it is ready.
okay.
All he asks is like, you tell me when you want me to step forward. I will speak to the people.
All right.
In fact, in the morning before you all split away, you also get the visit of one Captain Jose and his second in command. Oh yeah. He also bows to you, which is weird, right? Like he really does his bow like the enjoy your meal. Yeah, you too. And then he regrets it, right? Like he bows to you
I
back.
hate when I do that.
And then he's like,
And
yep. He just looks at Josefina like, why did I do that? And he sort of clears his throat like,
Second in command when you're supposed to stop me from doing this shit.
right? It's like, you know I'm a hot mess. Like, but no, there's a quick recovery, and he's the air is electric this morning.
Yes, my little lightning rod.
He sort of looks around and he's like, I assume everything is ready.
There's a murder in
Nice.
That's right.
I love it.
As you're having this conversation, you hear a small commotion as Rodrigo gets up and promptly knocks over a bunch of shit. Any of you still on the ship at this point realize that a lot of stuff was laid around him during the night.
Ah.
Offerings of various kinds.
Wow.
Some of them more jokey than others. Some of them clearly out of that boy is going to need to be hydrated. He's going to need bread in the morning. There's like all sorts of shit like laid out around him.
I feel like some seagulls probably got in on that before before he woke.
Well, there's
Probably woke up with Seagull like fucking attacking him.
some of it is more suspect than others, but like he gets up and doesn't realize it, so like bowls and bottles get knocked over as he sort of realizes, oh my
Cat camp.
his
Aww.
picture is amazing.
Wow.
Daughter has assumed her perch. Staring at.
Yeah, now
Like,
she's
whoops.
just got this jar
She's
look on
glaring
her
at me.
face.
There we go.
With the Led Zeppelin lyrics just right by.
Mhm.
She demands
Perfect.
to know where her
She turns in completely to that poster.
dessert is.
Yeah, I know. It's like very, very close in color.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Pretty cat.
But yeah, Rodrigo takes a moment, inspects a shirt, just hikes his pants up ever so slightly, and then comes down the ship after grabbing 2 bottles, one seemingly filled with water and another filled with something else. The bottle that Veronica gave him, he sniffs it, recoils,
And then
but then tentatively takes a swig of it, and then washes it down with the canteen of water. So, but yeah, he's down.
Now you have to let it coat your throat.
Yes, well, he's a southern boy, so he doesn't know these things. But yeah, he's up and at it, very clearly intent on pulling his weight and not being the weakling in this whole operation, despite the night he's had.
Not a finesse caster. He's excused. It's fine. When he starts to go to work, there's going to be collateral damage either way. It's all good.
That's right.
I have a question.
Yep.
Actually, it's about Fate Witch stuff. Like, how long does a blessing last? Does it last as long as it's not been used?
Yeah.
Okay, because
I don't know that blessings expire.
okay.
Same with curses, because you can set curses with like very specific parameters. There's legends that some of them don't trigger until years down the line.
I mean, how much of that is actually true? No one knows. But yeah, I am going to actually. I have got a kiss for a certain Londervie, like before he goes off to do his thing.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's got his name on it. I've already written it. Also, it's like 5.
Do you share any of that with him?
Which?
Because you're going to go bless him.
Oh no! Well, what I actually do, is as we're partying to do our individual things, whatever, I just like wish him luck and give him a kiss on the cheek.
He looks a little startled by that, but doesn't fight it. And then
My boyfriend's gonna find out. Stop.
that's right. You're gonna get your boy in trouble.
Yeah, I gotta keep the masquerade. I mean,
Right. Your husband's right there.
Oh no! You do
You know,
both
you know.
cheeks. Do both cheeks, and then it's not weird.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, now we're just greeting.
Now you don't leak. You're not Usurin.
JC, if you want to be entertained by this, go look at how French people debate how to properly give the greeting kisses. Because there's schools of thoughts.
I
Is
have
it
always
2,
thought it was
3,
right
4?
to left and only 2. That's all I've always done it.
In some regions that will not fly.
Well,
Some it's 3.
wait? Does that mean if you start the wrong side, you'll end up kissing on the mouth by accident? That really sucks.
Somebody has the lead, but it's 2, 3, or 4. Some people are like, you have to make the kissy noise. Some people are like, no, you can't. You just ram your cheek in other people's faces.
Yeah, this is boggling my mind because I've only ever done it one way.
That is some real shit.
Because I've only ever done it to a Bernier, and why would they have different schools of thought in the same family?
Ooh.
Like, you could, I don't know,
Same way
people
you have
might
different
die or
religions
something.
in the same family. No, that's or worse that way.
That's right.
So my West Coast family is 1 kiss.
See?
My East Coast family is 2.
They're not even
There
French.
you go.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
If you don't give the second kiss, they're gonna fucking pull you back.
You make the noise, right? You have to make the noise. It's important.
No, we don't do the noise.
Okay, well there you go.
See?
Yeah, we don't do the noise.
My mind is blown.
Some areas, if you don't make the noise, they're gonna be like, "What am I, a leper? Like, what? You don't want to pretend it's me?"
Well, my tia Gledmina is from a different island, so that's where I pulled that one from.
Totally.
Yeah.
For noises, but both cheeks better be touched.
You gotta
That's
get
just-
ranks in etiquette, so
that's
you
just a
know who you're
lie.
dealing with.
That's not,
Yeah.
I didn't even know this was going to be a thing when I first visited, so thanks for that.
Wow, I didn't think of it.
Oh, yeah, because it's normal for you.
I talked to my folks about it afterwards, and I was like, "Yeah, maybe."
My Irish family, you just wave and maybe you get a firm handshake and like a one-armed hug. And then like the Mexican family, depending on who it is, you either get like a hey, like oh hi, or you get the like oh, where you're like encapsulated in arms. Like
The family member is the tree
not the multiples all over the place.
the tree from last unicorn status.
yeah.
It's all up in there.
Yeah.
No.
There's no just like, oh hi, mwah, mwah. There's none of that on either side of my family. It's reserved, sort of like, oh yes, hello, or it's I haven't seen you. Oh.
Too
Well, no in between at all. Nope.
Yeah.
Told you
So
something good.
if you're bored at some point, go look at how incendiary that debate is.
Wow.
Nest.
That is a good cat profile right here.
No, she's just. Oh yeah. Show us the. I don't know, the glow of your
It
eyes.
goes so perfectly with all the decor.
I know, right? Her eyes looks like the
Same.
flicker.
Is that like Darth Maul right behind her?
Yep.
Yeah.
True story.
Perfect. It's like you could say this cat has decorated her lair, and we would believe you.
I hope my daughter has like better taste. But that's for me.
Nah, Darth Maul's okay.
Instead of Darth Maul, I believe Belladonna. Bauhaus.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Aesthetic.
Aww. Now we're distracted by Cat.
No, that's what she's there for.
All right. Any last business you want to take before?
Let's head into the square and pull this sucker off Prince of Thieves style, and just Oh, they were all in the crowd. Great.
Are y'all arriving together? Are you what's the plan?
I feel like we've already kind of split up.
I mean, after the morning powwow, I head off to the gate, chat with the crows. Then I think I will grab some breakfast at a stall as I stroll back to the square, and just sort of meander.
I feel like Jenny and Ricardo would also be with the crows.
That makes sense. I actually think that I would spend the morning having tea with oh my god, what's her name again?
Oh boy, we've left Dignity.
Lavinia,
yeah.
We've now moved into money shot.
Like trying to kind of like establish
That's right.
a little bit of a short morning ritual of sorts, even if it's just sitting there. And then
she does ask you a few questions about what you're gonna do during that conversation.
I tell minimal detail, I guess, and say if you may want to stay here for a little while.
She does ask like a few whys as you explain, but like she accepts your explanations without pushing further.
There's going to be some upheaval.
Very good point. I would also stop in at the office, like, close down for the day. Going to be a national holiday.
Maybe
for a holiday we have not yet.
It's going to be a local holiday. Yes, that's why it's going to be.
Maybe for many years. All right.
I think before completely going to camp, Jenny and Ricardo might stop by, see if there's a letter for her. From Olia.
Oh, yeah, that's
true. If not, they keep going.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything that arrived yet.
And Veronica is entitled to go hang out with whoever she wants, even if that's Rethel.
Yeah. She does hang out with you guys. Even if the choice is presented to her.
And after I stop by the office, I would actually wander over to the docks. The Wren, I think the Wren was staying out at the island.
Yep.
But the Bell came in last day or two, didn't it?
Sure did.
And then, of course, I believe that a good portion of the crew is going to come to the event for the festivities.
Oh yeah. Many of them are thrilled to be there. Yeah, so as you assemble with your respective groups into the square, it is a big affair, almost with the same setup as when the Inquisitors were introduced. So you see that there's already been the stage sort of set up at the public place. Inquisitor Juarez is already there with a few of his handlers. He's accompanied by Captain Voritelli. Everybody who's here, roll me wits plus notice.
Vaguely incognito with my hat on.
Yeah.
I am down and to the left from the stage.
Wait, top hat, but still no shirt, or
Well, no, there's the skins. There's the skins, the vest, and the coat, but open chest, of course.
gotcha.
Those
That's
wits
right.
plus notice,
Half
right?
this.
Every shirt's a V-neck.
Right.
Extreme V.
Wits plus notice.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 1, 2.
And yes, I have a cartoonishly large turkey leg.
Perfect.
Got a
Like
meal
a
in.
60-pound turkey.
Jen, you got
Jimena got 6.
6?
I also got 6.
6. How much did you get, Jenya?
5.
5?
Yes. Son.
Game works.
You roll D10s and hope for the best.
Oh, can I have told Leandro to stay at the store?
Totally.
That's a little ways away, isn't it?
Yeah, he actually, if you give him that request, he seems almost relieved.
Goodness.
Like the idea of
Aw.
standing in a big crowd was
Not.
nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
There's plenty for him to do there.
Yeah.
What? Oh wait. Okay. That made it any better or not? It's fine.
Make groups of 10 to 15.
No, I know, and I was like, wait, I can make this work. I rolled lower.
Did you roll a lot of 9s?
I rolled 2 2s. And I could only reroll 1, and it rolled a 1. And I was
Oh,
like,
fuck.
you.
Dang.
But I still managed 4.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Good. Nice. Thank you. That was a startling 4.
She's like, what the fuck?
No, you're doing that part again.
She's like, 4?
Yeah.
Oh,
Here we go.
yeah.
Right. Hey, this
is the content you're looking for.
This is
Internet.
after 9. It's fine. We can show some spicy content.
Wow.
Oh
Like
my
showtime,
goodness.
but for cats.
Her baby is kissing clean. Contagious.
Amanda, did you roll a wits plus notice?
I think we lost her.
Did we lose?
I think
Amanda?
so.
All right.
I fell asleep.
We'll assume Evine
But we don't know that.
sees all.
I mean,
It's not unexpected.
She's dueling with Julia somewhere in the background.
Even if she only rolls all 1s, she at least has 1.
Right, yeah, probably.
that's
Goodness. I think she's. Oh, no.
Yeah, that did not give her pause. So this is not an unexpected sight, but you all make mental note that behind a crew of Prophet Sword and other handlers, you clearly see the veiled shape of one Carmelita Mondavi.
Oh boy.
Just almost exactly where she was the last time at the inauguration of the two Inquisitors.
Oh, we asked our budding witch where she wanted to be, what she wanted to do.
No, I just told her to stay in the ship.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
they
probably
talked
best.
in the morning.
Okay, sorry, missed that. Go ahead.
She's still not decided what she wants to do, so I would rather not just have her in a volatile situation just yet.
Yeah, so you basically catch sight of Carmelita Mondavi, so you know what to expect.
How far? I want to be in the crowd close enough. I want to be in the crowd enough to not be noticed, but close enough to get to her quickly.
Okay. So you would have to shift to the right side of the stage because she's sort of there and back.
Oh yeah. No, this is a walking turkey leg.
Yeah,
I'll definitely make my way.
Yep. And yeah, stage left comes on the Inquisitor Juarez. No Prophet Sword, and accompanied by only a single person that Marilena and Genia would recognize as Elohim. And he posts himself in the back of the stage, just like watching the crowd like a hawk. And Inquisitor Juarez sort of nods towards Inquisitor Mazabi. Mazabi gives him like a much warmer nod in response, and then steps on stage, and they stand sort of side by side. Before long, Captain Voritelli also joins them up there. Okay, so you had who had 5 and up
For what?
for
Notice?
the Wits plus notice.
Nana.
Okay. You also turn around as you're trying to scan the crowd, and you catch sight near one of the sides of Grande Serafine, accompanied by Sebastian, dressed much less flamboyantly than usual, but he's rocking his battle gear. He's got a good black cloak on, black hat with silver trim. Right, he's conservative, but still rocking it.
Yeah.
He's watching Usha like a guard dog. And you notice that Governor Perez is actually with them. Which I think 6 you had, Jimena.
Mm-hmm.
This is closer to you, so you actually hear the murmurs in the crowd because that shit never happens. The governor and the Grande...
He's gonna watch his boyfriend.
Right? The governor and the Grande are, he's basically there to take power away from her, so they don't hang out usually at these kinds of functions. So it's making some people just scratch their heads and murmur. Before long, there's a loud bang up front at the stage to call people to attention, and a page just is bellowing top of his lungs to gather people's attention, mentions that the assembly today will be to announce some reforms supported by the crown that are suggested for the town guard, who are currently led by a new captain who have been depleted by a lot of the chaos that happened in the city recently, which all of you know is bullshit. The reason why they lost people is because some of them just went and converted to prophet swords. And in an effort to aid them keep order in the city, sure. In order to help with that problem, basically emergency powers are to be granted to the prophet sword to start to act as city guard until such a time as the situation can be said to have been properly quelled. And with that, like that gentleman steps aside and gets to basically cedes the stage to Inquisitor Juarez. You actually see him look back at Carmelita for just a second before stepping forward. And he basically starts his speech just corroborating that same point, right? Like in saying, "My good people of San Felipe, we have heard you. You have been living in fear, and chaos has been oppressing and encroaching upon the city we all love. I want nothing more than to help keeping you safe, and therefore I ask that you support this move from good men of the church to help maintain peace in your beloved city."
I want to like tuxedo mask style, like throw a rose down in the middle of the like, and whose fault is that?
Right?
Totally. I think our roses.
I feel like
you didn't do anything.
I think the roses are no, right? I think the rose is the ex-captain.
Right.
Right. Do we have a plan of actually how we're going to initiate this? Because
we left that to him.
Well, I've got a plan.
Okay.
I'm not sure I told you, but
sounds good enough.
Damn it!
Right.
Can I totally have like nosebleed something?
Yeah.
Because I just realized I could have also done another thing while I was giving him the blessing, like anchor him basically.
Oh sure.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I thought of that earlier.
I'm also going to put out that Jenny is actually just sort of circling the crowd as a crow.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually does sort of just settle on Ricardo's shoulder.
I mean, to be fair, at some point, if no one else says anything, Jimena is going to probably just start busting shit up with this guy talking.
Right. Well, as he continues, he sort of gestures to the side at the spot where Jose and Josefina are, and he says, this man is a good Castilian faithful, recently given an office and a task that is so large and difficult to maintain. We have full faith that he will rise to the occasion, but want to be able to provide him with the support he needs. A support that we feel only we can provide. And as he finishes that sentence, he looks like he's about to launch into another one, and you hear like a voice from the back of the assembly that basically just yells out, "Your help is not the help that they need."
Yeah.
Woo! You're here. Caw, caw.
And you see a detachment of crows
Nice.
near the back walls. All of you from where you are would recognize General Cardoso himself in battle regalia standing there, and the lieutenant colonel looking like she's just happy as a pig and shit. She's standing there like leaning on a giant sword. Just full battle regalia. Rethold, you know this piece to be just Ison battle armor, and this shit probably is worth like 6 months' salary.
Mm.
Nothing.
That's the shit.
She's looking down as if, daring people to come on up.
With my
Flanking them are 3 gunners.
with my ungreasy hand, I pull the pin, the crow pin, and sort of reaffix it to the top hat.
You see, Rethel, that move is mimicked around the crowd as a bunch of other attendees reveal themselves to be crows, including Ricardo,
The Three Musketeers.
who casts aside a cloak to reveal his blue carrion crow regalia on,
Nice.
and he adjusts his hat like,
We all got those pins, right?
"Come on, bitches." Yep, you do.
We
yeah,
have
I
a
have
cool nickname for ourselves that we don't ever use.
That's right.
Jenya resettles on his shoulder.
Oh yeah, he's standing straight and at attention. You see Juarez like sort of squint to see in the back like who that might be, and at first he is pretty sure Cardoso's the one that yelled out, so he says back, "I beg your pardon. Who might you be to cast that kind of a doubt? What have we done to deserve your suspicion?"
So,
And the voice calls out again and says, "You're looking out for your interests, not that of the people of this city." And Juarez's eyes widen as he realizes it's not Cardozo who's speaking, but another figure who steps from behind the crows and pulls out the hood to reveal Captain Landreville. There are gasps all around the crowd. Somebody yells the name a little bit closer, and it comes to the front of the stage like a wave. Like people just start repeating it. Landreville is dressed in his best city guard finery. His missing hand has been covered by a specially made piece of leather just wrapped around it, and he switched his sword to the other side and rests a hand on it. You see that Juarez is starting to try to get into this, but before he can continue, Landreville basically speaks to the crowd directly and says, "I have not abandoned you, San Felipe, and I'm here to announce my return. and that the reason why I was gone is because of this man, and he points to Juarez, and again there's gasp in the crowd.
In the pregnant pause between the gasp, I finish off that last piece of the bone with just that, right, with the that gross like pulling off the top.
Yeah.
You just sort of flick it like right in Juarez's view to land like in the area.
Wait,
below.
is this a rose? It's just a bone.
Yeah, just
It's a turkey bone. I mean,
just sort of like, yep. Here's some garbage for you.
You hear a half-hearted, like, preposterous. Why would we? And he just gets cut off again by Landreville, who said, for days, I was sequestered, kept away from you all, maimed, and he basically just pulls out the leather cover to show his missing hand in all of its glory, and it doesn't look pretty. It's been cleaned, but again, crowd is gasping all over the place.
He's got a rapt audience.
And he says, all in a bid to wrestle power away from you all. You have been deceived. This man wants to lull you to sleep under the auspices of keeping you safe. Tell me, San Felipe, will you let him? And there's like a pause before there's like a no, of course not, from somebody in the audience. And the moment that first no comes in, the crowd starts to pick up on that and starts to join in and roar. Like they're sort of whipping back from Landreville to Juarez. Juarez seems desperate to try to salvage this, and he's like, this man is lying. What proof do you have that I was to do that? Why would I do this to San Felipe? Why would I just sow chaos?
Real quick, out of character, what proof do we have?
Well,
like what, like that we can present?
We've got the ship's logs.
Yeah, we've got all the logs and things that we pulled in.
I believe we gave the receipts to the governor, and if not, then I'm pretty sure Marilena has them.
No, I think we did give them to the governor. That's right.
I don't. I would have bluffed like fuck if I had to, though.
You hear like some of the crowd like sort of start to be like, yeah, it is a little bit hard to believe. At which point, Governor Perez steps up from his perch, flanked by Grande Serafine and Sebastian.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And clears his throat and says, I believe I have it right here, Your Excellency. And he pulls the ship's register as well as what look like a couple of scrolls.
Call his boyfriend a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Prisoner registers that show that Monsieur Landreville was indeed held in an offshore facility that, according to these documents my staff have dug up, are held by you, Inquisitor.
We promise.
Bum, bum, bum.
On top of this, many names on here belong to people who have, in the past few months, disappeared after either expressing doubts or opinions that is against the policy of the Inquisition.
Which are likely in the crowd.
That's right. You actually hear a few people step up to gasps in the crowd. Perez basically looks towards Landreville for a second, and you see like a quick nod between the two as Perez continues. With this new evidence, Captain Landreville's return to the city and these allegations, I believe it is not in the best interest of San Felipe to agree to your demand. In fact, I ask in my capacity as governor that your prophet sword return to their official duties to guard members of the Inquisition and get out of city securing business immediately.
Oh, man.
Until we get to the bottom of this whole sordid affair. Juarez basically shakes his head and said, Governor, you are here on behalf of the crown. You do not have the power to make such a decision.
Mm-hmm.
At which point, Ushia steps up and says, it is a decision that we have mutually agreed upon, Your Excellency. As Grande of this territory, I am fully supporting Governor Perez's decision. I believe it is not in the best interest of my people to cede power to someone while you're under such compromising allegations. Until this matter is completely resolved, and if you are innocent as you claim, I am sure you will have no trouble proving it. We, and she looks to Perez, and they both step sort of side by side, have decided to resolve the issue concerning the lack of able bodies in the city guard by enlisting proud, dedicated veterans who have accepted to rise to the cause of our city and the Gran Ducado. We have made the decision to pardon the carrion crows of any crimes made against the nobility and to conscript them into the city guard effective immediately. At which point the general steps forward with his lieutenant colonel and they take a bow. The crowd doesn't know what to do with itself. At some point, you hear some people start to applaud, and that sort of starts like a whole wave of applause. Some people are actually crying as they realize some of their family members are now in the crowd because more crows reveal themselves. Over a lull, the general basically says, I am not one for flowery script, so pardon my promptness. But rest assured, the Crow is an honorable company. We are happy to join the ranks of the city guard, and if the city accepts us, we will bleed and die for you all. Juarez at this point has turned away from the crowd and is sort of looking back at where the Fate Witch is standing.
What is she doing? Can I tell?
And you can roll, but
sure.
As this happens, you see, like, you feel that some pockets of the crowd are getting like a bit more dulled, like they're not cheering as much.
What am I
and
rolling?
you feel, actually, you don't even need to.
Okay.
You feel the influence over it, but it only lasts a couple seconds, weirdly enough, and it comes back up. And you feel like something actually pushed it up.
So as I see Juarez checking his fate witch, I pull out a dry old turkey leg bone. And anyone who knows Rethel knows that he's sizing up the throw. But then the crowd comes back up, so he's just like, "Oh,
You feel definitely Carmelita must have influenced the crowd somehow.
Yeah.
But you feel her influence either was pulled back or some other force like pushed it away.
And it wasn't me, or was it me?
Well, as you're asking yourself that question, a gentleman bumps into you and you recognize him as one of the men from the ship, Raffi, and he says, "I am so sorry. I tried." You turn to your other side, and creepily standing there like a doll is Lavinia, just hands folded in her lap, and she's looking right at Carmelita, like by the side of the stage.
Oh,
you
damn.
hear Rethold squinting from across the square because I would have looked to you to see what the next move was in regards to the Fate Witch, and then there's that bitch. He's just sort of holding the bone like,
What did she do?
She's looking right at her, and the only thing she says to you is like, "She's wicked."
Wicked.
ooh, he's found morality of some type. Yay!
There is no place in our power for wickedness.
Understood.
She must be unmade.
I agree.
And meanwhile, Raffi is just like, you realize you're not paying attention to him anymore, and the whole time he was like, I'm sorry for using that kind of language, but I had to step away to take a leak, and then the moment I came back, the door was open, and I've been chasing her like this. So I don't know how she runs, but like she's just I'm out of breath. Like I've been chasing her here this whole time.
She runs on pure determination.
She's
Some of it, maybe.
She's Uncle Iroh from Avatar. Just like when you're not
Right?
looking, just punch in and work.
Whoa.
That's right. You'll take off the veil and the big like skirts eventually, and like her thighs are like this big.
Hella jacked.
She can kick
She's
through
like a
some of
body
the wall.
gymnast.
Yep. Like a swimmer. And yeah, like this whole chaos, like you see that Juarez expected something, then he turns back to the crowd, and more of the crowd is starting to like get agitated at this point, like, and it's all mixed stuff. It's like the crows are back, Captain Laudovit is not dead. What is happening? Why the governor and the Grande are making common decisions? Like what is happening? But
Zhenya is going to use a hero point that I've been saving, and she's going to open a spot in the clouds to put a direct beam of sunlight on top of them.
perfect.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
It's
Lovely.
nice.
yeah.
almost on cue. As this happens, you see Landreville step back up into the fray and is like, "These people should not be deciding your fate. San Felipe, your fate is yours. Who do you want to believe? What do you want to see? You have people here committed to you that will serve you and your best interests. What will it be? You hear somebody who might have been a fan. It's a screechy lady voice that says, "Come back to us, Captain Laudreville." Like she's almost in tears. And you see him raise his left hand in a courtly salute to the crowd. People start to scream and yell again. And as they're saying that, the beams of light are coming down on those people. And Inquisitor Mazabi steps forward to the stage. He walks past Juarez, who looks like he just stuck a dagger in his side, and basically says to the crowd, "San Felipe, please be calm. We will get through this, and the church will support you. I, as co-inquisitor of the city, will support the governor and the Grande in their decision. In my official capacity as an inquisitor, I declare an official inquiry into my co-inquisitor, and until his name is cleared, he will step down from his role. The Prophet's Sword will return to their role as our guardians and our guardians alone, and we will collaborate with the powers who are present here in order to see that justice is done." You see a salute from the governor and Grande. Sebastian actually steps forward as well. You see the hat getting tipped. It takes a moment, and Juarez basically just is at a loss for word and basically says, "Will you believe them? They've obviously planned this. This is," and as he's stumbling, the crowd erupts.
Zhenya swoops by and releases on him.
Nice.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect timing. As you do. The crowd erupts. Jimena, from where you're seated, you know that this is
this crow.
This is the release of months, if not years, of pent-up frustrations, and some of those people have had it. You hear an old lady in the back just yelling at Juarez to shut up in Castilian.
Yeah, Jimena stands up and then in Castilian basically starts yelling, they're like, "Boo this man! Boo him! Boo!" And like
They are all too happy to oblige.
What do I still have an eye on Carmelita?
Roll me what's notice.
All right. I say to Lavinia, we should work together.
I am at your command.
Okay.
She will flee.
I know. We cannot.
Rethold also keeping an eye on that. Casters need tanks. So.
She's looking, and the words are sort of coming out of her mouth like stream of consciousness. Like they're sort of half whispered, but you can sort of hear them very clearly. She says, "Like a rat trapped in a cell. She has been like this all of her life, always trapped, always looking for a way out, a way to power, a way to not be under the boot of more powerful men. She married him. She married him for that very purpose. He said he would make her powerful. She will continue to commit to that. This is not lost for her. She will continue to think she can win. She will make her way out, and she will recoup. And she stops, and she's still looking at her, and she's like, you will have to stop her.
I mean, I start moving through the crowd as it's becoming like evident that things are going.
Yeah, both of you who are watching, you see that she's starting to duck away. And the moment this is observed, you also see Juarez, who was about to give a rebuke to Mazabi, just seems like he lost his safety net, and now he basically like turns tail at the crowd, becoming more and more hostile. Some people are starting to pick shit up the stage. It's starting to get a little scary.
If my path following Carmelita gets me to anywhere near anyone else, I'll tell them exactly what I'm trying to do.
So,
but I will not break stride. I'm gonna keep going because I can sense her.
if she looks like she's bolting, that bone just sails.
Also, since Jenny is already overhead and she sees her going, she's gonna drop from the sky a person right on top of her.
Perfect.
Love it.
Yeah.
And
There, bitch.
commotion starts to break as they start to make their way out of the crowd. You see a detachment of Prophet Sword draw their swords. Captain Voritelli just follows suit and sort of closes the march, also drawing a sword. He actually catches the bone that Rethold threw, and not catch it in his hand. He was walking and then gets hit by it. And then immediately turns around with rage in his eyes, like just with Rethold. That's right. And the crowd starts to just like erupt. Like you hear cries of like, don't let him escape. He can't escape justice.
Oh boy.
I mouth Lucio at Vortelli.
He's looking like dead at you. Like his eyes are daggers at this point as he sees the recognition. Like he's just like, it's this fucker again.
like bad cartoon, the axes just come into frame like it's happening now.
You're right. Jimena, roll me a wits plus notice.
Well, that wasn't helpful at all.
No?
Wait. Okay. Got 5.
Hey.
5?
Yeah.
So, in the heat of things, you're sort of scanning the situation, Jimena, and of course, as it happens, your eyes fall to Sebastian, standing dashingly by Usha, who's also drawn his sword, an arming sword, and that he's sort of like daring anybody to come in their direction, right? But you notice from that little exchange that one of Juarez's aides sort of gives him a look like daggers, like just aimed straight at Sebastian. Like that guy is like holding a book and he looks at Sebastian like, you fucker, right? Like that's the kind of look he gives him.
Oh,
and
no.
Sebastian looks back at him and frowns and basically like shakes his head and then just like puffs his shoulders a little bit, and that guy just maintains eye contact as he starts to fall back towards where Juarez was. You're not exactly sure what that exchange was, but he made it a point to look directly at him.
No one looks at my boo like that.
All right. Well, you can assume that you're getting a ping from in everybody's head from Evine, who's in shadow somewhere. So you're able to sort of figure out, like, yeah, we're doing this. So you get a ping for a plan of action. So we will pause it here for tonight. Next time, the chase.
Yay.
Build some shit up. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Oh man, this is like one hunt that I've been waiting for. Great.